afternoon, everybody, and welcome to your very first episode in 2015 of your favorite monthly segment and mine, Out of the Vault. If you are new to my channel, please know that there will be a playlist of this show provided in the box below. Out of the Vault is a monthly segment on my channel in which I bring to you guys a review of a classic Disney film. However, in January, with the start of a new year, I always like to give you guys something that is not Disney classics related, but something that is truly classic in the wonderful world of Disney. And this is definitely a true classic. I am going to talk to you guys about one of my favorite cartoons of all time, DuckTales. DuckTales came out in 1986, and it was a real pioneer for Disney at its time, because Disney, while it had its famous shorts starring Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy, etc., it never really had a cartoon show on a daily or weekly basis on network television. DuckTales really was a pioneer and a first of its kind. And not only that, it took old Disney characters and reinvented them for a whole new generation. I mean, Donald Duck and his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, had always been in the Disney family for a while, but Scrooge McDuck came out in 1983 thanks to Mickey's Christmas Carol, and they gave him a real chance to shine. They brought some great voice actors like Alan Young to voice Scrooge McDuck, the great Russi Taylor to do Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and the legendary June Foray, who has done voices like Witch Hazel from Looney Tunes and Rocky J. Squirrel from The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. So they brought all these people together with a brand new animated series for network television, and it really was incredible. It was a story of Donald Duck being called up to go back to the Navy, so he had to give his nephews over to his rich uncle Scrooge McDuck. Scrooge McDuck is the wealthiest duck in the city of Duckburg, takes them under his wing, and he brings a whole bunch of people to watch over them, including his trusty butler Duckworth, a brand new nanny called Mrs. Beakley with her granddaughter Webby. There's also some great characters like the Scrooge McDuck's hysterically goofy pilot Launchpad McQuack, Scrooge's trusty inventor Gyro Gearloose, who kind of has a few gears loose here and there. And even the villains are very memorable. And the best part about the villains is each and every one of them had a different agenda against Scrooge. The Beagle Boys and their mother, Ma Beagle, they just wanted to take all of his wealth away, including all the money in his towering money bin that is right next to his mansion. You have Magica Dispel, who is an evil sorceress that is constantly after Scrooge's very first dime that he ever earned to use it for a taking over the world spell. And then you had his childhood adversary in Flintheart Glomgold, who doesn't want to be the second richest duck. He wants to be the best richest duck. Scrooge gets to know and love his nephews, and he takes them on his treasure hunting adventures. And they do anything from scanning the globe to even going forward and backwards in time. And as the show progressed in its 5-year run, you were introduced to other characters like Bubba the Cave Duck and Duckburg's first superhero, Gizmo Duck. So it really was a lot of fun. The stories were great. Every episode was exciting. I really enjoyed this show a ton. The show itself was a pop culture phenomenon. It created lunchboxes, t-shirts, action figures, and even 2 legendary video games for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I believe also a handheld game and even a game for the Game Boy. And I will say that DuckTales, the very first video game, was the first Nintendo game that I ever beat. So it was something that was great. It also got a full-length movie called DuckTales the Movie Treasure of the Lost Lamp, featuring a new villain voiced by Christopher Lloyd, and it was the ultimate treasure hunt, and to me, it was Aladdin before Aladdin actually came out. I mean, it would have been great to actually have Gizmo Duck and Bubba, but it had the core characters that originally started in the show, and it really was a good story. I'm just really upset that it's still not out on DVD. I really want to add that movie to my collection. So the show started out on its own, and then in the early 1990s, it joined the Disney Afternoon, which was Disney's block of animated shows on network television that actually had a very healthy run, running all the way till the late 1990s. It included brand new shows and also shows that reinvented characters, like the 2 guys that I'm wearing on my shirt. You probably remember Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, but that could be another story for another time. Unfortunately, in 1992, the show did have to put a goodbye for the last time. But did it leave its mark? Absolutely. Not only the show itself, but it was also a creator of 2 spin-offs. One very successful, and one not so successful. The first one was Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck takes place in a neighboring city called St. Canard, in which it has its own vigilante superhero named Darkwing Duck. While he is a superhero, he's not doing it to make a difference. He just wants the fame and the glory of being a superhero for himself. It brought Launchpad McQuack into the show to be his sidekick, so basically there is life after DuckTales, and even Gizmo Duck showed up in a couple of episodes, which was pretty awesome. The show was hilarious, and it also had the late Christine Cavanaugh, who voiced Goslin, Darkwing Duck's adopted daughter, and she really was a real integral piece of the show. I really loved her on the show. Also, the villains were great, too. It was pretty much Disney's version of Batman. But then you had the not-so-successful spin-off, and that was Quack Pack. Eventually, Huey, Dewey, and Louie get taken back in by Donald and his girlfriend Daisy. It was actually nice to see Daisy finally in a modern Disney show, and it's basically Huey, Dewey, and Louie as teenagers, but they really didn't look back at the original source material from DuckTales and changed it to something that was kind of bland and stupid. But even though there was a failure in the legacy of DuckTales, as a whole, DuckTales to me is unforgettable. The series is now on DVD. We're still waiting for one more season to be released. It has left such an impact that the original Nintendo video game was remastered for the Wii and other video game consoles. But the coolest part was, it was redone in a big way. They used cell animation to capture the features of the original characters, and they even brought the entire voice cast back to voice the characters, and they even gave the entire video game an even bigger overhaul by turning it all into an excellent, excellent story. I haven't played it, but God, do I want to get my hands on that game. If you remember DuckTales, put your comments in the box below. I adored DuckTales. I love the theme song. I mean, God, that thing can't even leave my head for 2 seconds. There are great cartoon theme songs, but that is definitely a legendary one. So, thank you very much for watching the very first episode of Out of the Vault for 2015, and I'll see you guys in the next one when we get back to the classics. Actions speak louder than words.